So I have a confession. I have an obsession with lip gloss. After a long day at work, there is nothing that alleviates stress like going to my drugstore, hitting the makeup aisle, and finding yet another tube of pink lip gloss. And can I please tell you that I have 50 of these things? Do I need another tube of lip gloss after a long, hard day at work? No. But I cannot get enough of this lip gloss. This bag is only a few of my many, many, many pink lipsticks, lip glosses, whatever. Do I need mocha tinted lip gloss? No. Do I need shimmer lip gloss? No. I just can't get enough of my lip gloss. There's other things that I can't get enough of. I can't get enough of books. I have a whole Kindle full of books. And on top of that, in case something new comes out that I just have to have right now, I need the hardcover. So I have beside my bed stacks of books. And on top of that, I have several books going at one time. Like I said, if something new comes out, I just can't wait to finish that one book before I start the new one. So therefore, I have 3 or 4, sometimes 5 books going at one time. I can't get enough of them. And after a hard day at work, something else that I just can't get enough of is Ben & Jerry's ice cream. In addition to that, have y'all ever heard of everything but the? It's a flavor from Ben & Jerry's. Let me tell you, the marketing dudes at Ben & Jerry's have it down pat. They know what they're doing. They have a flavor called everything but the. It's got chocolate, it's got vanilla, it's got caramel swirl. I believe there's chocolate covered pretzels, chocolate covered peanuts, everything you could ever need in a tub of ice cream. It's there. I cannot get enough of my Ben & Jerry's ice cream. I'm wondering if there's something that you can't get enough of. Are you the person that's always looking for the next big thing? You're planning an event, you're planning a vacation, and you're getting ready. Your whole life is centered around it. You're excited about it, and then the vacation comes, and then you're getting ready for the next thing, and then you're getting ready for the next thing. Always going, going, going. You just can't get enough of that excitement of that next big thing. I'd like you to think about other things that you can't get enough of. Maybe you're like me, where you can't get enough of ice cream or lip gloss or whatever it is. Maybe you can't get enough time at the gym. Whatever it is, I'd like us to think about what are those things that we crave? What are those empty spaces in our hearts? We're calling them voids or our empty cups. And we use these things that we just can't get enough of to fill those empty spaces, to fill those voids. And for right now, our definition of voids are, like I said, those empty spaces in our hearts. But the key is we don't always know that we're empty, so we keep pouring and pouring and pouring into it. And it's endless because it's empty and we're not fruitfully pouring into it. And therefore, we got to keep doing it, keep going, keep going. These lip glosses that I told you about, they will not fulfill my void, but I keep going for it. So let's think about our voids. I was joking about lip gloss, sort of. I was joking, and I wasn't quite serious about the Ben & Jerry's, sort of. But on a serious note, sometimes we might know people that can't get enough alcohol to fill those voids. They've got deep, dark spaces in their heart. Maybe they go for alcohol. Maybe they go for food. Maybe they go for sex. They can't get enough of that because they're constantly trying to fill those voids. This is a very serious thing, all joking aside. We've got to figure out, we've got to take a look at our voids and figure out what the root of them are. And so just to give us an idea, some of the starting points of these voids might be, for example, loneliness. We might feel lonely, so we've got to fill those voids. Sometimes we doubt ourselves constantly. We're self-conscious, so we've got to fill our voids with that. That's a starting point. Sometimes we feel unloved. Sometimes we feel in despair, without hope, so we fill these voids. And ladies, I'm thinking you might agree with me. Sometimes our voids start with just feeling plain worn out. As women, we're always trying to take care of others. We're always trying to help our friends, help our family, help our boyfriends, and we just wear ourselves out on top of our other responsibilities. That's where voids start sometimes, when we just pour into others and we have this emptiness, this empty cup. Now, to get a little specific for me, one of my voids lately, one of my starting points for my voids is uncertainty. I've had a little change up, a big change up in my life with regards to my work. And I'm not sure what my job will look like next year. I'm not sure if I'll even have a job. So I've got this uncertainty. I've got this worrying. I'm constantly worrying. And so I decided I needed to take a look at my finances to see what would go on if I did in fact lose my job. And I had to consider, what was it that I would need to cut out? What could I not afford any longer? And it came down to it. One of the things that I just can't get enough of is this BlackBerry. Can anybody identify? You might have a smartphone. I've got my BlackBerry. I can't get enough of it. And goodness gracious, if I have to give up my BlackBerry because I can't afford it. That is a starting of this void. This uncertainty led me to see that one of my issues is having this attachment to this phone. So tonight we look to not only what we look to fill our voids. We look to who do we turn to fill our voids. Sometimes we turn to family. Sometimes we turn to friends. We turn to relationships, to our boyfriends, to fill our void, fill this empty space in our heart, to make us feel loved, to keep us from feeling lonely. Who do we turn to fill our voids? It's this endless cycle that we constantly have this emptiness, so we pour in, and what we're pouring in does not fill us up, and so we have to pour in again and pour in again. It's this endless, vicious cycle. And I'd like to propose to you, let's forget about that. Forget about trying to keep up. I have this t-shirt. It was super cute. It said, "Forget about the Joneses." Do y'all know what I'm talking about? That saying that says, keeping up with the Joneses. In America, we're always trying to keep up. And there's always something, there's going to be the next best party, there's going to be the next new pair of jeans, the next new pair of cute boots. Somebody is always going to be prettier, smarter, has a better job than us, has more money than us. We constantly are trying to keep up and fill this void, this endless cycle. Excuse me. So let's forget about it. I propose that starting now, once we've taken a look at our voids, once we see the starting points of these voids, let's fill it up. And I propose to you that we turn to God, our El Shaddai. Now, this is a name of God that I love so very much. And the technical term meaning in the Hebrew for El Shaddai is God is all sufficient. He's the God of the mountain. If we read it in the Hebrew, that's what it says. My favorite way to phrase that term, El Shaddai, is God is more than enough. God is more than enough to fill our cup. If we hand him our voids, he is more than enough. So I'd like to show you in Genesis where we see El Shaddai. You won't see it in English, but it's in the Hebrew. Genesis 17:1, where we're looking at Abraham and Sarah. They desperately wanted a child. They desperately had that need, that emptiness in their life, that emptiness in their family. And they wanted a child, and they waited forever. God promised them children. God promised them a child, and they waited forever. And this is what Genesis 17:1 says. When Abraham was 99 years old, the Lord appeared to Abram and said to him, "I am God Almighty." That says, I am El Shaddai. "Walk before me and be blameless, that I may make my covenant between me and you and may multiply you greatly." So what did God do? Abraham and Sarah wanted one child, just one child, to fill that need, to fill that void. And what did God do? He provided for them greatly. Abraham and Sarah were father and mother of the nation of Israel. They had descendants upon descendants of children. God was more than enough. And turning to the New Testament, where we see the true, just the words coming straight from the word, filling our voids, and God's is more than enough. I'd like you to turn to Ephesians 3. I'll start with 17, and it says, so that Christ may dwell in your hearts through faith, that you, being rooted and grounded in love, may have strength to comprehend what, with all the saints, what is the breadth and length and height and depth, and this is the key, and to know the love of Christ that surpasses knowledge, that you may be filled with all fullness of God. That we may be filled with all fullness. He just doesn't say you're going to fill it here. He's going to fill it to abundance, to all fullness. God is more than enough. Our El Shaddai. He gives us more than enough love, more than enough forgiveness, more than enough wisdom, strength, power. Consuming our lives with Jesus, we allow him to be more than enough. And it's what's interesting. I talked about how the lines of where we think God